The city slept. Streetlights cast long shadows. Inside a cozy home, chaos reigned. A simple Argyle sock, vanished. Gone! The humans were clueless, but the pets, they knew something was afoot. Whiskers twitched, ears perked up. This was no ordinary disappearance. This was a case for the Pet Detectives, a motley crew of furry investigators assembled by fate and a shared love of tuna. Leading the pack was Sherlock Bones, a gruff but brilliant bulldog with a nose for trouble. His eyes, one blue, one brown, gleamed with determination.
We've got a mystery on our paws, team.
Sherlock Bones's team was an eclectic bunch, each member bringing their own unique skills and quirks to the table. They were a motley crew, but together they formed an unstoppable force of furry detectives. There was Mittens, a sleek Siamese cat, all elegance and sarcasm. Her piercing blue eyes could see through any lie, and her sharp wit was as quick as her reflexes. Her methods, intuition, and a healthy dose of side-eye. She had a knack for making suspects squirm with just a glance.
Let's just hope this doesn't involve too much hair. Mittens always had a way of making light of even the most serious situations.
Then there was Charlie, a hyperactive Jack Russell Terrier, all boundless energy and enthusiasm. He was the muscle of the group, always ready to leap into action. His excitement was contagious, and his nose was second to none when it came to tracking down clues. He sniffed the air excitedly, always on the lookout for the next big adventure.
This smells like an adventure. Charlie's enthusiasm was unmatched, and he was always the first to volunteer for any task. Maybe the sock ran away to join the circus. His wild imagination often led to some interesting theories.
Finally, there was Nibbles, a fluffy, unassuming rabbit. At first glance, he seemed like the least likely member of the team to be a detective. Don't let his appearance fool you. Nibbles had a knack for being in the right place at the right time, and his small size made him perfect for sneaking into tight spots. Nibbles had a keen sense of observation and could pick up on the smallest details that others might miss.
He's our secret weapon. Nibbles' quiet demeanor often led others to underestimate him, but he was always one step ahead.
"All right, team," Sherlock Bones barked. "Let's gather clues." With a determined look in his eyes, he knew they were ready for the challenge ahead. "Mittens, you interview the humans." Her sharp mind and keen intuition made her perfect for the job. "Charlie, you sniff out the house." His boundless energy and incredible sense of smell would ensure no clue was left undiscovered. "Nibbles, just try not to eat the evidence." His mischievous nature always added a bit of humour to their investigations. Together, they formed the Protective Agency, a team like no other. Each member brought their own strengths, and together they were unstoppable. Whether it was a missing sock or a more serious mystery, they were always ready to solve the case. And so, with Sherlock Bones leading the way, the Protective Agency set off on their latest adventure, ready to uncover the truth and bring justice to their corner of the world. Mittens, ever the charmer, approached the humans. Her soft fur glistened under the warm light, and her eyes sparkled with a mischievous glint. She had a way of making everyone feel special, and today was no different. She purred innocently, rubbing against their legs, her purrs vibrating through the air like a gentle hum. The humans, enchanted by her affection, couldn't help but smile and pet her.
Missing sock, you say? How dreadful! Tell me everything! Mitten's eyes widened with feigned concern. Her ears perked up as if she was genuinely interested in the mystery.
The humans, oblivious to her true motives, recounted the events leading up to the sock's disappearance. Laundry day, a mountain of clothes. They described the chaos of sorting through the endless piles, the frustration of matching pairs, and the satisfaction of finally seeing the bottom of the laundry basket. And then, poof! One sock vanished. It was as if it had been spirited away by some unseen force. The humans were baffled, unable to comprehend how a single sock could disappear so completely. Meanwhile, Charlie was a tornado of fur, tearing through the house. He sniffed under furniture, behind curtains, his little nose working overtime to catch a whiff of the missing sock. Even inside the toilet bowl, much to his disgust. His determination was unwavering, and he left no stone unturned in his quest.
No sock here, no sock there. This sock is a master of disguise. Charlie's frustration grew with each failed attempt, his barks echoing through the house.
Nibbles, true to form, was munching on a carrot. His whiskers twitched with each bite, and his eyes remained half-closed in contentment. He watched the chaos unfold with a detached air. To him, the mystery of the missing sock was of little consequence. His world revolved around the simple pleasures of life, like a fresh carrot and a cozy spot to nap.
This is going to be a long night. The search continued, with no end in sight. The humans, the dog, and even the cat were all caught up in the drama of the missing sock. As the night wore on, the house grew quieter, but the mystery remained unsolved. The usual suspects had all played their parts, but the sock was still nowhere to be found. It was a puzzle that would keep them all guessing until the very end.
Sherlock Bones examined the scene. The laundry basket lay on its side, clothes scattered like confetti. He sniffed the air, his brow furrowed.
The scent is faint, but familiar.
He followed the trail of the missing sock, his keen nose leading the way. It led him to the living room, to a specific spot on the rug. He circled it, his tail wagging slowly.
Aha! The culprit was here, but who could it be?
His eyes fell on a pile of dog toys, a chewed tennis ball, a slobbery rope, and a suspiciously sock-shaped lump under a plush dinosaur. Mittens, having extracted all she could from the humans, sauntered into the living room. She took one look at Sherlock Bones's discovery and smirked.
Don't tell me you're surprised, Sherlock. It's always the obvious suspect.
Sherlock Bones bristled.
Are you suggesting Bruno?
He growled, referring to the family's St. Bernard, notorious for his love of socks.
My dear Sherlock, dogs and socks, it's a tale as old as time. Or at least as old as that drool stain on the rug.
Sherlock Bones had to admit she had a point. Bruno did have a history with socks, but could he have really taken this one? Just when they thought they had cracked the case, a feather fluttered down from above. It landed right on Sherlock Bones' nose.
What the?
Perched on top of the bookshelf, looking very smug, was Coco, the family parrot. In her beak, she held a sock. But not just any sock. It was the missing Argyle sock.
A likely story, Coco squawked, her beady eyes gleaming. This sock. Found it lying around, just returning it to its rightful owner.
The detective stared in disbelief. Coco? Stealing a sock? It seemed impossible. And yet, here was the evidence dangling from her beak.
Coco, Sherlock Bones began, his voice dangerously low. I'm going to give you one chance to explain yourself.
Fine. I took it. It was a crime of passion. That sock. It matched my feathers perfectly. A fashion statement, you see.
The detectives exchanged glances. Only Coco could make stealing a sock sound like a fashion choice. But something wasn't right.
The sock? It smells like bananas.
Bananas? Sherlock Bones's mind raced. Bananas? Bruno, the sock-shaped lump under the dinosaur. It all made sense. He shoved the dinosaur aside, revealing Bruno fast asleep, and clutched in his paws the real missing sock. It seemed Bruno, in his sleep, had mistaken the sock for a banana-scented chew toy. Mystery solved. The detectives, exhausted but triumphant, gathered for a victory photo. Sherlock Bones stood proudly in the centre, the recovered sock held high. Mittens, ever glamorous, struck a pose. Charlie, unable to contain his excitement, bounced around like a furry pinball. And Nibbles, he was nibbling on a banana, a knowing smile on his furry face. The case of the missing sock was closed. It had been a challenging mystery, but the pet detectives had once again proven their worth. The sock, which had been missing for days, was finally found under the couch, thanks to the keen nose of Detective Rover and the sharp eyes of Whiskers the Cat. The household was at peace, but only for a moment. But for the pet detectives, the adventure was far from over. Their keen senses and unyielding curiosity meant that they were always on the lookout for the next big case. The yard was their playground, and every corner held a potential mystery waiting to be unravelled. The team, consisting of dogs and cats, worked in perfect harmony, each bringing their unique skills to the table. There were whispers of a stolen catnip toy, a prized possession of the neighbourhood cats. The toy had vanished without a trace, and the cats were in an uproar. Detective Whiskers took the lead on this case, sniffing out clues and interrogating the local felines. Meanwhile, Detective Rover was busy investigating a suspicious toy box, looking for any signs of foul play. A mysterious chirping sound in the dead of night, which had been keeping the entire household awake. The sound was elusive, and no one could pinpoint its source. Detective Rover, with his ears perked up, listened attentively, while Whiskers kept a vigilant watch from the window. The night was filled with anticipation as they tried to solve the mystery of the chirping sound. And a rumour, started by Charlie of course, of a squirrel planning a heist on the bird feeder. Charlie, the neighbourhood gossip, had everyone on edge with his tales of a cunning squirrel plotting to steal the birdseed. Detective Rover and Whiskers decided to stake out the bird feeder, watching for any suspicious activity. The squirrel, unaware of the watchful eyes, went about its business, but the detectives were ready for any sudden moves. As the sun rose, casting a warm glow on the city, one thing was clear: the pet detectives would be ready. No case too small, no mystery too strange. The city was waking up, and with it, new adventures awaited. The pet detectives, silhouetted against the sunrise, walked with purpose, ready to tackle whatever the day would bring. Their dedication to their craft was unwavering, and their bond as a team was stronger than ever. They were the guardians of the home, always vigilant and ready to protect their territory. The front door and windowsill were their lookout points, from where they could survey their domain and ensure everything was in order. Their presence brought a sense of security to the household, knowing that the pet detectives were always on duty, the defenders of the ordinary, making sure that everyday life went on without a hitch. Whether it was patrolling the backyard or keeping an eye on the living room, they took their roles seriously. Their teamwork was impeccable, and their dedication to their mission was unmatched. They were always on the move, ensuring that no detail was overlooked, the solvers of the seemingly unsolvable. No mystery was too complex for them to crack. Whether it was a strange object that needed inspecting, or a cluttered room that held hidden secrets, the pet detectives were up to the task. Their investigative skills were sharp, and their determination was unbreakable. They thrived on challenges and always found a way to solve the puzzle, and they always got their treat in the end. After a long day of solving mysteries and protecting their home, the pet detectives were rewarded with their favourite treats. It was a small token of appreciation for their hard work and dedication. As they enjoyed their well-deserved rewards, they knew that tomorrow would bring new adventures and new mysteries to solve, and they were ready for it.